Hey, Starseeds and Soul Fam. I'm so excited to meet you all in all these corners of the earth. So much gratitude to Eva for the invitations to magnificent times. It really is. My name's Michelle Noerianto, and I have a business called Eka Circle. Eka is actually an ancient Sanskrit word that was given to my husband in dream state when I was pulling in what I was going to do next for my spiritual sign up, I suppose. Eka means oneness, and I'm very excited to show you what the Spirit's been teaching me about co creation using vibrational healing. Let's go. So, for me, this awakening process started 28 years ago, or actually, if I reflect further, it started as a child. But due to personal traumas, I switched a lot of my giftings off. But 28 years ago, I was going through a really major crisis physically, mentally, spiritually, financially. Pretty much nothing else could go wrong for me. I didn't realize why it was happening, and I just cried out in my bedroom to a God that I actually didn't believe in. And guess what happened? I got zapped in the head and then given a gift of clairaudience. I was able to hear. Sometimes these gifts can be a little bit terrifying because we don't know how to work with them and we're not sure what's going on. It can even feel like you're going crazy. But at that moment, I decided to surrender to a higher being or a higher source than myself, and I cried out for help. Just that little mustard seed of faith literally broke a black magic curse. Now, I never believed in such things, but apparently these things happen. This realm, this matrix, actually runs and feeds itself off things like greed and fear. And this is what Spirit's asking us to shift out. If we're not holding those vibrations, then we're not attracting them. We're not part of the problem. We become part of the solution by actually physically being a temple stone to vibrate at a higher pace. So we are vibrational beings. Matter, the body that you live in, is vibrating at quite a low state. So Spirit is teaching me to co-create using light and sound. Now, yep, light links into your auric field. Do you know how wide or far yours can stretch yet? Do you know that you are a limitless being, that you're already seated in the heavenlies? It's actually all cymatics if you've ever seen a real star. You are a star, and that's why I welcomed you as a star seed. This is really exciting, guys, because once we realize that our powers are emotions, we can help others shift very quickly. I assume many of you have seen the Hawkins map of consciousness. I'd like you to think about these vibrations or these emotions as part of a song, universe. We're all part of each other. I'm one with God. I'm one with you. I'm one with that animal, that bird that you can hear cheeping in the background here. But what are we holding within our temple body? What are we resonating? Because that's what we're attracting. If it's love, joy, peace, that leads to enlightenment. I think this is what Christ came to show the way. Don't get caught up in religious divide because spirit flows with unity. I don't need to understand what the Spirit's given you to know. I just trust the divine process that we're all shown something. Does the kidneys in the body ask the brain how it works? No, they just work together. This is us as humanity. But here's the thing. There are some, I don't know what they are really now anymore, but they seem to be trying to rule us and keep us trapped in a matrix of fear. Fear is very low vibrational and it actually births out of shame. Look at where that sits on the consciousness chart and you'll see why trauma is the hook that keeps us trapped in this cell, keeps us trapped in this prison of not knowing how divine and magnificent we really are. And while we're holding those things without recognizing them or honoring them, we're not diving into our deepest potential. See here in this alone, once we see the fractals of things, and that is magnificent patterns that go on and on for eternity, we need to honor the darkness. The darkness actually teaches us the most. So this is where I love to work with clients in teaching them who took your joy. You had the joy as a child, you were born with it. And what was it replaced with? Let's shift that out. Let's recognize and honor those emotions. I'll give you a great example: anger, rage. For somebody that suffered abuse, if they're told to just get over it, this doesn't help. What we need, and we can't talk that anger out. That anger physically has to shift because the body is holding a crystalline memory of what's been spoken in or what's happened traumatically. Water holds memory, and you are more than 70% water. But have a look at the organs though. They're a higher percentage, and the organs are where we hold emotions. Let's shift. Let's shift into a higher state of consciousness, and we do that by going in, the kingdoms on the inside, honoring these deep-rooted emotions of pain and suffering that most of us have had. A lot of it's also epigenetics, family stuff that vibrates through the bones. Shift it out. That was me yesterday. It isn't who I am today, mindfully. And today I choose faith. Today I choose joy. This is how you enter the kingdom of heaven like a little child. I believe Christ came to show you that you're exactly the same. You are exactly the same, and you have the way back to source. And this is what Christ consciousness is all about. Okay, so I've let you know now that your emotional state is your true level of currency. Money is not currency. It's how you leave people feeling. People don't remember words, and they'll always pay for something where they feel good, right? I've spent my whole career, my adult career from early teens, practicing as a stylist on successful books and things in the media. But I'll tell you now, I knew my secret was that how I left my clients feeling, how I left the crew feeling. You get booked for your energy, and you can implement that strategy into any business that you're doing. You know, it's never about performance, actually. This is what they teach in the corporate world. But if you go home feeling like crap, people are going to remember that you made them feel like crap. And this is where a successful manager is somebody who knows that their team is actually more important for the vision. So strategize this and let's pull it in. How to raise your vibration. We're talking energetics. We're talking using emotions. Here's a few practical tips. I'm a sound healer because sound healing actually physically raises your vibration. I work with 432 Hertz because Spirit gave me a dream of using singing bowls. I'd never even seen them before, but I trust the process. You can try anything, but add up 432, that equals 9. We're talking numerology here. And what is most music happening with here? 440 Hertz. I'd like you to dive in. It's a deep dive, and don't get caught up in that word conspiracy. I think we now realize that we've got to dig for the jewels and dig for the gems. But I'd like you to see how that affects your auric field. Other things, grounding, take your shoes off. Go and eat some electric food. A lot of that's fruit. Eat green. Green is, look at the chakra colors. Green starts at the heart. So it makes sense that all of nature's showing us, even in the color spectrum, what certain foods are doing. Nothing is a coincidence. Once you can see there is no divide, it's such a beautiful, simple process. I believe the ancients saw all of this. All ancients practiced sound healing. All ancients practiced grounding. All ancients had access to free energy. They understood these things. So how did it all become cloaked and hidden? I think it was the trauma roots after the wars. Earth is vibrating at the state that we are holding. We are physically a bridge between earth and heaven. Let's be intentional about that. What else could you do? Gratitude really changes your vibrational state. Now, let me say it very clearly. Vibrational states linked to brainwave patterns. That's a big conversation that you could dive into. And I can't wait to teach you about co-creating, because there we're speaking gamma state, gamma activation. Look at the word gamma. It's got ama or mother in it. G plus ama. So that's very interesting to me. God with ama, mother and father. We've got the synchronicities of the feminine and the masculine. Yes, it does pull into left and right hemispheres of the brain, and your Christos light sits right bang in the middle. We need to be synchronized. We need to shift out what's hidden in the subconscious mind. And that's a little bit of a process, but is quite gentle if we know how to do it cleverly. Try and practice all of these things. Don't forget to drink living water. Our water has been tainted and we are water beings. Remember that water holds memory, and emotionally that's either at the chaos scale or the enlightened scale. Your choice. But most of us are dehydrated. When I play frequencies, that settles in the water of the cell. If the cell and the organs are dehydrated, then I can't really help you get to your next level. Are you hearing me? There are so many modalities. Red light therapy, I practice that as well. Lots and lots of things organically gifted to us by the earth that we can now implement in order to shift our vibration. But remember, the body follows the thought. So just unlearning is your best state. Sit, be still. Solomon says the temple was built in silence, and that map actually is a map of your body. Can you hear me? Clear out what is within you. Clear out and replace. Never leave a void in the spirit realm. And then we'll find that our auric field is more intact. It's your Joseph's coat of many colors, and you can stretch that light field. Your light or your Merkaba is what connects you back to soul, and soul is back up there with source. It's so beautiful. I can't wait to hear what you guys teach me as well, because I know that these are mini jigsaw pieces of the puzzle and we all have part of it. Isn't it exciting that we're being awakened to who we really are? When God has children, you better know who you are. You better know that you can command the elements, but you've got to reconnect with the elements. You're an elemental being. Connect with the earth, connect with the water, connect with the fire, which is the magnetism of the cosmic realm. And yeah, connect with the breath. Breath work is a great way to implement a higher vibration. That's the first thing that God did to activate the Christ within you. And we're in an incredible season of remembering. Mem means water. Remembering who we really are as spiritual beings. Okay, let's get to the exciting part, the co-creation that Spirit's taught me about. So if you understand that matter is vibrating at a slower state and you choose to step into using light and sound to co-create, you're going to use things to your advantage. This is literal magic. Thoughts are electrical. Yep, so you got that in the quantum field, and we've got a lot of science to back this up. So please go and read up on it. Don't just take my word for it. Feelings produce magnetism, though, the magnetic charge within the field. So once we know this, we can manipulate as spiritual beings. There have been lots doing this on the dark side, but what I said earlier, as a fractal, darkness teaches you, so we take that power back and we co-create using light. This is amazing stuff. So think about computing system. How do you activate with voice? We call that Siri. Spell that backwards. That is Iris. Use the Siri activation. Use your voice activation to pull in what you're feeling. Let the feelings be high, elevated emotions, euphoric, bliss state, joy. I desire to have this to do XYZ for the better of the collective, and this is how it's going to make me feel. I'm meditating on this. I'm writing it in my journals every day. I'm thinking about it regularly. I'm casting the vision. Maybe I have a vision board. I might have lists and lists on my phone like I do. I can record myself and play it over and over because your voice is the best thing to manifest with. These are secrets that really work. But the tip is to surrender. Think of the ocean. So we pull it in and then we release, and it comes back unexpected. I'm doing this event tonight. I knew that I would be public speaking, but I didn't know how, why, when, or with whom, because I've surrendered all control, because the universe has better things for me than I could conjure myself. This is working as a oneness, an Eka, an Essa. There are many words for this. But this is the Maya. Ma meaning ocean, Ya meaning frequency of heavenly source, God Father. So you've got Mother and God energy within this Maya. We can use this to our advantage. This is how we change the matrix, guys. This is how we do it. We pull things in not just for self, not for greed, but for the collective. Because I recognize, because I love you, that you're a part of me and we have to do this together. You are such a powerful being. Whatever you're holding is what you're attracting. The mind and the body require a vibrational match for your best outcomes. So if we know this, we have to heal self. We have to go inward and do the inner work. That's healing the inner child and speaking with the higher self in order to balance things out. Yeah, so forgiveness plays a big part in that. Shifting out, forgiving, cutting energy cords with anyone that's come to take your light or take your feelings or take your co-creational abilities. Nobody steals anything that's not valuable. So please hold that in the higher consciousness part of your brain with some wisdom. And when we recognize that somebody else is struggling too with conscious thinking, compassion would say, oh goodness, what happened to you to get to that level? Let's talk about the astral. Yeah, Spirit has taken me up, down, across to some very strange places, and yet I can't do it on command. It's all vibrational. I've found that when I'm working with my sound healing too, lots of my clients have dreams where I'm going into battle for them, and yet I'm completely unconscious of this. This is what I mean about you don't know what your soul agreement is because we haven't anchored it in quite yet. We're still remembering who we are. You have a soul agreement too. Let's become a vibrational match to the planes and the realms that we need to visit. And I'm telling you, there are keys. Keys are frequencies. And what Spirit has shown me is that love is a key to the highest realms. Yeah, these planes are eternal. They go on forever and ever. There's so much that we need to unlearn in order to get to the state of learning and knowing where on earth we could be. It's pretty exciting. You have a super consciousness to tap into, but it's all hidden within you. The goal is to die to self, which means die to ego or die to flesh. You're not the house that you live in, you're the spirit within, which is connected to soul. It's a vibration of higher consciousness, and in that state of heavenly realm, you're not separate to anybody else, including your enemy. But while we're grappling in this dry state here, yeah, remember I said that we're very dehydrated here? While we're separate, while we're feeling like we have to battle and fight and prove to the world who we are, you know, I'm the best at this, or I have the most amazing postcode, car, or house, we're a little bit trapped in things of the flesh. And what's happening within us is then reflected externally. That's why they call it the beast system, because you're stuck in fight or flight mode. So the whole conscious programming feeds that mode. Yeah, every single system set up with ego ruling, and that's because we set it there subconsciously. We need to shift within, and then the reflection or projection happens without, externally. What are you holding that you don't know about? What's trapped in your subconscious mind in traumas? And go deeper under the iceberg. What's your identity, your ID, living with? What is your identity in? Have you surrendered it all? Because that's the requirement for higher thinking. Wisdom says, surrender all, because love gives back so abundantly. God's not stingy. So I'm trying to help you identify that your true currency is the energies that you're holding each day. If I said this to you now with what we've talked about, I'm asking you a question. What are you holding? What are you giving focus? What are you giving your laser-like attention to today? Is it something that happened yesterday? Is it somebody that's really pissed you off? Is it something that happened in your childhood? Is this why you're feeling lethargic and drained? Or is it something too far in the future that you're worried about and so that's draining you? You know, you don't drive a car by taking the eyes off the road. If we can stay laser focused, it means closing down each file in our computer system. You're the major computer. You're a supercomputer if you know it. Close each file. You're not operating well giving attention to things that aren't in this moment. This is mindfulness, and this is what brings healing, peace, and love. So, quantum mechanics has demonstrated to us that what we give attention to physically changes matter. The double slit experiment, if you haven't looked at that yet, have a look. It's very exciting. This is the laser focus that I'm talking about. So if Spirit's shown you something that is your soul agreement, don't get distracted. Don't entertain doubt. Give it some laser sharp thinking with faith of a child, the joy of a child, these essences that were stolen from us by the trauma root. Yeah, these things that we were born to do. If you haven't found your soul agreement yet, I'd like you to reflect back and ask yourself, what gave me great purpose and joy as a child? There you'll find your secret. Or you could flip it. What's been stolen from you? Take that back, alchemize it, and use that for your purpose. These are really interesting things to dive into. You have something amazing. You were born to do something that nobody else can do. Christ said it like this: you will do the greater things. We will do the greater things collectively, because systematic trainings taught us that Christ is just one, and when in fact Christ is all of us. We're all part of that kingdom. We're the body, we're the bride, which is lifted up. Once you grasp this, you'll understand Christ consciousness needs to rule. And this is incredible once you pull it in with the Ma. Ma being bitterness, Ma being water energy, Ma being the highest realm of wisdom within heavenly realm, I think sits within water. There's water above, as well. So once we're changing the cymatic frequency of the water that we're in, boom shaka, there's our birthing. Speaking a little more into your light field is affected by everything that you do that affects your vibratory state. Don't forget that's the vibratory state of others around you. So for some real healing, we might need to retreat, go into the cave. That's how I like to word it. I tell my meditation group all the time that Spirit's calling me into some alone time to plug back in. We see this in many of the ancient prophets, seers, mystics, sages. They would often spend a lot of time alone. Once you love self, there's no fear in being alone. You're pulling in energies to revive so that you can keep giving. And it's modeled by all of the ancient ones that had this mystical wisdom. So check in. What am I needing? Because when we have a tear in our auric field, that's where entities have access to us. And this happens through our wounds, emotional wounds that we're holding within our body. Be conscious of your light field. And when it's intact, grounded in, you can stretch it. It's very, very exciting to know this stuff, guys. So I'm going to break it down very simply for you now. Every single thought has a Hertz frequency. I think if you dig a little deeper, you'll find that this links into solfeggio and what Tesla was speaking about with his 369 theory. It's all linked to the body. What are you holding? Let's be so conscious that we shift anything out that doesn't come into agreement with love, joy, and peace. If you are observing someone within your family, stretch your tent, your light shield of peace over them so that you're covering them, so that they're blocked from any external influences as well. We can use this light manipulation very powerfully once we know who we are and that we're not bound by this temple stone. That's our body. Once we get to crystalline state, we can hold a higher vibration permanently. This is people like the Ascended Masters. Enoch is one of my favorites, where they just permanently were in a state of meditation that they could ascend even with their body. I think this is the goal. But see what you think. Dig in, and I'd love to hear. Drop me an email and let me know. I'm really hoping that I'm eloquently simplifying very difficult subjects here. Well aware that you could go deep on each little thing that I've mentioned today. But here's the thing. If you're in a plane crash, put the mask on your own face first. Clear yourself, and then you'll be able to rescue those on the plane. It's exactly the same with Earth plane. So don't try to be the hero. You're not Superman trying to, or Superwoman trying to save the world. A lot of us have gotten caught up with that as an empath because we can feel others' energetic fields. And yet in that, we're part of the problem, not part of the solution, because we're trying to rescue another. Don't forget the great I am is within each of us. It's written in your DNA. The connection of universal cosmic connections inside every single person, whether they're awake or whether they're asleep. Just do your own inner work, and then you will attract the ones that you can be an influence to. Surrender trying to be this major rescuer. The whole goal is to break this vicious cycle of victim mindset. It's been an incredible opportunity for me. I feel blessed, honored, exhilarated, joyous, like a skipping child down the golden street to meet you and have this opportunity to connect. I would love to hear from you. What are you co-creating? I already have a separate business with collaborative friends called The Healing Room. This is where I'm trying to follow my purpose and dreams that have been shown to me in visionary state of gathering a group of like-minded healers, each using different modalities. And I'm trying to make it simple for them to make the jump financially, environmentally, emotionally. I'd love to hear what you're up to. Please drop me an email or stay in touch and follow me on my socials. Bless you all, and I can't wait to see what we're all birthing in this new Earth process. Isn't it fun? I hope to hear from you soon.